passionate about Cleveland sports.
He's going in! Touchdown!
Browns, Indians, Cavs, the Big Ten, and more.
Cleveland is a city of champions once again!
Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond.
A swing and a drive! To deep right!
Here are your hosts, Andy Billman and Jarid Watson.
Hello and welcome, Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. He's Andy Billman. I'm Jarid Watson, and this podcast is brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out, original Cleveland sports reporting, even if it makes you want to rip your hair out every single fucking week of your life. Right there for you, original Cleveland sports reporting, waitingfornextyear.com. As you can tell, I have already set the tone for this episode. I sat through the bye week. I really challenged myself to come up with how I truly feel about the direction of this Cleveland Browns team, and where I am at right now is I don't feel any better. I am pissed off. I don't think we should be in the situation we're in. I think that there is way too much sloppiness, and we are going to talk about all of this shit throughout the next hour or so of our lives and share it with you so that we can, have this catharsis and hopefully survive this coming Sunday against the New England Patriots. And of course, New England, fuck us. Andy, what the hell, man?
Cleveland Browns.
Hi, friends. It's been a long 2 weeks. We had a lot of stuff. We did an Indians podcast for people who like to live back in baseball. You can listen to that, please. Mandy Bell did a great job.
I'd relive that Indian season over again 3 times over. Even knowing that they don't get to the postseason. Than to rewatch these last 6 games. Go ahead. I interrupted you. I told you I had some things to say today.
So, friends, it's time now to put on our Browns caps. We're gonna put on our elbow pads, and we're gonna dig deep today and try to really figure out, because the Browns, I guess we all should have known. Here we are, 6 games in, and really nothing has changed when it comes to performance from last year to this year. The biggest point I'm going to make throughout this podcast that I am worried about is, for the first time, I'm not seeing growth. I'm not seeing the team getting better. I'm kind of seeing run in place. Now, there's 10 games left. That is the good news. There's plenty of time to get back in this thing. They've only played 3 AFC teams. They've gone 2-1, and they've beaten the Ravens in their division. So the Browns have a lot ahead of them. So to start, everybody should keep that in mind throughout the day. There is plenty of time to make these corrections and to get yourself back on track. But to do it in Foxborough is very tough. But we're going to break down the team. We always do this in the bye week, so we're going to do it now. You got to start off with Baker Mayfield, so let's start there on the offense. The big thing that I came away this week, Jarid, and you and I were talking about it, I really wanted to do a numbers dive, because Mayfield to the eye has not improved. He's regressed. He is not playing as well. And so when you see that, my answer reaction is, well, let's really dig into the numbers and let's see if the numbers match. His accuracy is 31st in the league. His NFL picks lead the league. He has 11. He is 29th in touchdowns with 5. He only has 5 touchdowns through 6 games. That is really light. To give you a better comparison, Kobe Brissett, who was not supposed to be the starter for the Colts, already has 14 in 6 games. That is a drastic difference here in
14
numbers.
touchdowns, yes.
Yeah, 14 touchdowns. That's a drastic difference in numbers.
Andy, when we're talking about these numbers, here's what I'll say. The red zone offense scares me a whole hell of a lot more than does Baker's accuracy and his interceptions. I expected interceptions to be up this year. That, in turn, is going to affect accuracy. I think that there have been a handful of those interceptions that shouldn't have necessarily happened. This is the only place where I will defend Baker. But I look at how long he holds on to the ball, and I also look at how they cannot execute in the red zone, which, by the way, comes from the fact that they don't utilize or haven't utilized Nick Chubb correctly in the red zone. Not every time, but on enough times where it's mattered and affected this number. Andy, it's beyond me, though, that this is where we're at right now.
I'm actually very concerned about the accuracy number, because Baker's accuracy is what got him the number 1 draft pick overall. He has a strong arm. He does great things on the field. But the big thing that I know he's noticed, Jarid, is that his accuracy, and his accuracy is off. The interceptions, I concur with you. I really agree with you about the red zone thing. The red zone thing's alarming. And yes, great point made by Jarid. these options where they have nobody in the backfield except for Baker need to go away inside the 20. And it's startling. The Seahawks game, which we'll get into. The bigger thing here, though, with Baker is, in the long run, am I still on the Baker train? Yes, I am. Do I think
same.
Do I think Baker will be okay? I do. I'm still not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I am saying this now. He is not playing well 6 games in. And yes, some of it's on Freddie, which we'll get to in a second. But some of this is on Baker. I mean, he is having some real struggles, Jared, where accuracy and numbers, is some of it offensive line? I do, but I don't think it's all of it. But Baker needs to be Baker. My big statement, I believe in Baker. I think Baker will lead this team to big things. But Baker also has to start playing better. He's got to start playing better to what he's doing right now.
Well, of course, and I agree with you in the fact that I'm still with Baker. But to sit here and think that he was this unflappable force where nothing could shake him, the last 6 seasons or the last 6 games tell us another tale, because you see that with the way that he's played. You see that with his hesitation on getting rid of the ball. It is not. He's not comfortable. We've repeated this. He doesn't look comfortable. He's not slinging it. He's not just throwing it. He's out there overthinking.
Confused. He looks hesitant. At times with the ball, he hesitates, which he never did last year. There are times too where
the hand tapping of the ball,
the hand tapping. Now, is some of this play calling? Yes, it is, and actually, that's a big part of it at times. Is if some of it though that he just is not confident enough to throw a needle? I think part of it is too Beckham, and the wide receivers are next. Beckham at times, I think he feels the pressure of needing to get him the ball. And I think at times too he feels the pressure of needing to get to Landry the ball, and I think that plays a part to this. So let's bring in the receivers. The big thing with the receivers that I am surprised about, Jared, is for all the talent, and you can see it on the field, outside of the Jets game and Landry in the Ravens game, they have these wide receivers, whether it's Landry or Beckham, have not taken over multiple games or have not, in the wins, Landry and Beckham shine. In the losses, you can feel their presence, but they're not taking over the game.
Nope.
So I don't know if that's going to be and by the way, I don't think that's good.
No, I thought in Seattle that Odell was going to take over.
He didn't know.
No.
He had good numbers, but he didn't take over the game. The biggest alarming stat about this whole wide receiver staff is Ricky Seals-Jones is a team leader in touchdowns with 2. Ricky Seals-Jones is the leader in touchdowns with 2? That's not good. And the other half of this, which is hurting Baker, is, and this is the bigger component here, Higgins, Callaway, and Juco, nothing this year. Those 3 have been injured. They've been suspended. All that stuff, which by the way, injuries happen, and you got to take that into fact. But those guys played a big part in the Baker Mayfield success, Jared. And I think that is playing a role in his slow start, we'll call it. His very slow start.
Speaking of which, this forcing of Callaway feels to me like another one of those situations where Browns coaches are trying to outsmart themselves. Because when you look at the play on the field, Higgins is your guy over Callaway 100% right now.
Didn't play
and
has been. Seattle.
And has been. He has been Baker's security blanket since the first time Baker stepped on the field.
Yep.
So there is no excuse for forcing Callaway because of the upside potential that you will get out of Callaway. He's a burner. He's in great shape. He's got to catch the ball. And we've already seen the issues with that at the goal line.
Yep.
I don't understand why coaches come to Cleveland and think they have to try to force things to work instead of just doing what you know already works.
I think there is a connection problem with John Dorsey and Freddie Kitchens right now.
And that's not good.
I think there is.
And there's more evidence of that today with the way that Greg Robinson has talked, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think there is a disconnect here because the bigger thing to me is Callaway plays and Higgins dresses but doesn't even play it down on the field. That's weird. That's odd. I don't care what anybody says. It isn't like in baseball where you have a guy on the bench and you bring him off the bench. But, hey, the situation wasn't right, so we didn't let him bat today. In football, when a guy like Higgins dresses, you're going to put him in at some point. And as proof positive, the 49er game, Callaway got in there immediately. So to not put Higgins in a game, that is an odd vibe. There's been a lot of rumors about Higgins all week. Rumors about him being traded, rumors about him not getting along with certain coaches, rumors about him just feeling an outlier. They're all rumors. I don't know what you can decipher is true or not. But these three people not being around Jared, I think, have hurt Baker. And again, injuries have played a part in all of them. And a suspension with Callaway. But even if Callaway wasn't suspended, his high ankle sprain would have kept him out the first 3 or 4 games for sure. So I think all that's played a thing. And I think, going back to this whole thing, and this is what I was wondering over the break, is Baker still the leader of this team? I would say right now he is, with a slash of Landry. I think Landry has really become the team spokesman just as much as Baker, as confirmed on Thursday with what happened, which we'll get to.
Don't even get me started on that shit.
I think Baker Mayfield, though, needs to start taking the reins more and needs to start thinking more about wins. And I gotta be honest here right now, I think he's it's so obvious, he's overthinking.
Oh yeah.
And I think Freddie and John Dorsey need to listen to him. And by the way, it's up to Baker. But if Baker wants Higgins in the game, I think Higgins needs to be in the game. I think that will help Baker. But that's only if Baker feels that way. But from afar, that's what I would be.
I'm curious, and here we go. Here I'm going to speculate because why not? That's why we do this shit. Is the overthinking of Freddie possibly a part of what's causing Baker to overthink?
Yeah,
meaning, you know what I mean? Making Baker question himself because he's not trusting his gut, because he's trusting Freddie, and Freddie's in actuality, he's kind of wrong on the way that he's called some of these plays, on some of the ideas that he's had, trying to score a touchdown. Oh, no, that's not enough. We need 2 of them with 1:30, which, by the way, you look back at the stats, and I think that's happened once in like 1,000,000 times. That's a made-up stat, by the way,
Freddie had a bad
in the history of the NFL. So why would you ever think that was what you were going to do against Seattle? It's just obnoxious.
Freddie's having a bad start. Baker Mayfield's having a very slow start. And when you get all those things combined together, then you get the Landry thing, which, again, I feel like Landry is not battling with Baker, but battling to take the team leadership role, which I think is playing a part in all this. There's a lot of factors in here. I would like to see Higgins in more. I think that would help. I think Callaway in the game is actually a good thing, but it needs to blend. And there's way too many times it feels like Baker's forcing the ball into doing certain things to either appease Munkin, appease Freddie, appease Landry, appease Beckham. It doesn't feel like he's playing the game right now. And Baker needs to start playing the game. So the wide receivers and the quarterback really play a big thing here, along with Munkin. And by the way, I think Dorsey too. I think Dorsey is also hovering. I felt like Dorsey's press conference, you could tell Dorsey's starting to feel the heat of not doing great off the blocks. He feels confident. I shouldn't say feels confident. I think he knows that this thing can turn around, but boy, that was a nerve-wracking press conference. The bigger thing here, though, is you want to clear some of this up, give it to 24. Just hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. Hand the ball off to Nick Chubb. His numbers, Jared, are shining, glowing remarks of a guy who might win the MVP if you give him the ball more. I think they need to. Feed the beast. Nick Chubb has been the best player on this team on this side of the ball, period. It's not even close. Chubb is the best player. And by the way, even if Mayfield was playing great football, I think Nick Chubb would be in the same argument. He is an elite player, Jared, and I want to see Nick Chubb taking more carries. I do.
He's got more than 600 yards on 15 carries in 6 games. He's absolutely dominating on the field. And we talked about it a million times.
A yard.
Base this entire offense around him, because we're going to talk about this in a little bit. The defense, I think, is getting fed up, and we saw that. Yeah. You see that coming in the form of missed tackles, I think. It's gonna
against Seattle,
because why give a shit on defense if your offense is going to let you down?
By the way, you're right. By the way, you're right. It's very fair. The big topic. So I think Nick Chubb needs to become, not just with his stats, not just with how you think the team is, but Nick Chubb can, again, even if it was firing on all cylinders with the passing game, Nick Chubb needs to get the ball more. The only play Nick Chubb's had all year was that fumble against Seattle, and I thought that pass was forced by Baker. He forced it in traffic, and it caused Chubb to fumble. So I even think Chubb's one fumble was really just a mere mistake by Baker because he threw that ball on a short screen and Chubb was turned, and there was 3 Seahawks right there.
I'm not even fazed by it. I don't even want to. His fumble is not even in my thought of what problems persist with this team. You know what I mean? Like it's an afterthought. I'm like later on this season, I'm gonna go, oh yeah, I forgot that Nick Chubb
By the way,
fumbled.
I'm with you. I agree. So you know, the biggest topic though hasn't been Baker. The biggest topic hasn't been Landry, hasn't been Beckham. Well, it's been Landry on Thursday and Friday, but the biggest topic still, even with all that stuff all week, and it's carried through again on Friday, is the offensive line. And here's the one, before we dive deep into this, I am getting really fucking fed up about a couple things with the offensive line. One, I don't think they're playing awful. We have seen shitty offensive lines in Cleveland, and I'm telling you from someone who observes it, I don't see shitty offensive line.
No.
Even it's Seahawks.
It's Baker's body. It's the way Baker looks in the pocket, that anxiousness that is making people think that offensive line is failing him. That's my opinion, at least. You know,
the announcers during the game complimented the Browns offensive line multiple times in the Seattle game. Multiple times. I'm telling you. The offensive line's now, is it a good offensive line right now? No, but it's not terrible. But everybody's freaking out about the offensive line, and everybody blames the offensive line for all these problems. So, okay, let's dig deep into it. On Friday, today, just an hour or two before we started up, Greg Robinson has been benched. Greg Robinson confirmed it with the press, saying he talked to John Dorsey about it, and he didn't know who was going to be starting in his place. But from everything we're hearing, it does sound like Justin McCray is going to be the guy to step up. Because Lamb's questionable with a knee injury, so you can't really think Lamb's going to be taking that spot. So, okay, for everybody out there. And by the way, was Robinson playing great? No, he wasn't. So I'm okay with this. But Jared, does Justin McCray bring wins with him starting on Sunday? Hell no. I'm sorry. Like, I think we're grasping at straws if you really think a big left tackle change is going to make that big of a difference, unless you're getting a trade with Trent Williams or a Nate Soldier. Like, if you got someone like that, all right, you can talk to me. But Jared, like Justin McCray for Robinson, I guess it may be worse.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a conversation for me. Because it's not, because it's a look over here, and that's not where the issue lies with this team.
I agree. I don't understand.
But here, let me caveat that. I'm sorry, Andy. Let me caveat that with, though, who's making it the issue? Is it the issue because it's the only changes that are being made? Is that why we're talking about it as if as if we're assuming that that's what the Browns are doing to try to fix things? Or regardless of what the rest of the offense was doing, would they be making these changes anyways? I guess is my point. Would they be trying to cycle in some of these younger guys, the guys that they've made moves for in the past and to get here? I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Like, they might have been planning to make these moves anyways, even if the offense was doing better. Are we just talking about it because it's the only thing we see them doing?
Well, I'll even go a step further. Outside of tight end, you're not taking out Nick Chubb. You're not taking out Landry. You're not taking out Beckham. You're not taking out Baker. So if you can't change those positions, what's the only position left? Offensive line and left tackle.
Right, but I mean that's Jared, my point. They're not going to. That's kind of my point. Is I don't know that they're doing it to try to spark the rest of the offense. I think they might be doing it just because they were going to do it anyway.
If they are, I think the Browns have much bigger problems than.
Yeah, absolutely. If that is the case, which it might be, because once again, are we trying to outsmart ourselves here over this, over the issues with the offense once again, like we are when it comes to the play calling, like we are when we think we're going to score 2 touchdowns in a minute? I can't get over that, Andy. I can't get over that.
Yeah, well, I mean,
I can't get over that. Take the points that are in front of you. Don't try to force things and hurry up twice, because you get the points you can get first, and then see what's left.
It was such a bizarre.
Like, I just don't get it.
The end of the second quarter. You could explain.
Oh yeah, I was on the 695 coming. I remember exactly where I was. On the west side of Baltimore.
Bizarre. It's only 2 downs. But on second down, he throws that pick, and you just watch it, and you're like, and the Browns are hurrying up to the line. It's like, oh no. Like, as soon as you hear something like that, your brain wanders. It was a bizarre sequence. Again, though,
it's infuriating.
Going back
this
to
is why I don't talk about things when after this is why I go dark.
Oh, by the way, I would like to give a big wave of good luck to Austin Corbett. He is now in LA going to the Rams. I guess that draft pick didn't work out, so they get a 5th round.
No, but he might end up getting a Super Bowl ring.
Look, here's what it comes down to.
I mean, right?
Yeah, right. Look, here's what it comes down to. With all this offensive line stuff and crap, could they get a boost? Okay, sure. From a trade, could they get a boost? Yes, and there's a lot of rumors pointing to the Browns making some sort of trade for left tackle. Okay, fine.
Well, they got 4 days left?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's Tuesday. It's either Tuesday or Thursday. You know, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
By the time we'll break it down. It's next week. Look, the bigger thing here, though, is if you think putting in a left tackle could help the team, yes. Do you think that's the main reason why the Browns are losing games? I got to be honest with you, no. I see things that are contributing. They're not just the left tackle.
Let's bring up this then. Placebo. Could the changes to the offensive line, whether they make an incremental difference or not, which 99% of is pointing towards it, it's not going to make an incremental difference. Could the idea of those changes maybe calm Baker down? Maybe. Again, I'm grasping at straws. Could it be the placebo different. He needs? Could it be the mental break that that he gets from seeing that? Oh, okay. Whatever the little bit of relief that maybe he gets.
All that does, in my opinion, is does it help for a game or two? Sure. It does not turn around your whole season.
No.
I'm just not seeing it. Now, if there was worse offensive line play, I would be there. But I'm just not seeing, again.
Right, because these are systemic issues we're talking about. We're not talking about, things that need a Band-Aid.
Right. Like, was Robson playing well? No. Was he playing awful? No. He was playing decent to bad. He wasn't playing great, but he wasn't playing poorly. And in the Seattle game, he was doing a decent job at times. He had some times where he got pushed over, but he wasn't doing that bad. He really wasn't. Now, in the 49er game, he looked awful. But that's okay. Everybody looked awful in that game. Hubbard's also not been playing that great, too. The bigger thing, though, here is, and I'm going to just hammer this home, all of these things we just talked about, it's all contributing to this mess, okay? It's not one thing. It's not just the offensive line. It's not just that people think Baker's overrated now. It's not that just Landry and Beckham aren't getting the ball enough, or that Chubb's not getting the ball enough. It isn't just Monken's play calling or Freddie's play calling, and Freddie's play calling, and he's mixing up Monken's play. It's none of that shit either. It's all of it. All of this is why we're here. It's Dorsey, too. These draft picks, Callaway, he's not playing. Need more out of this guy. What's his name? Ratley, not playing. We're not getting a lot of help from these draft picks right now that we had in the last 2 years. Outside of Baker and outside of Chubb. Really no impact players from these draft picks. That has to change. Avery hasn't made the field.
That's confusing to me.
That is confusing. Let's talk about the defense.
Yeah.
For people who haven't seen the numbers, the defense is right where you probably think it should be, 17th, which feels right to me. I don't know how you feel, Jared.
It does.
I think 17th feels right about right.
Yeah, as soon as I read that in the rundown, I thought that was perfect.
I think that's right. The weird thing to me is they were doing well on the rushing yards. They have not. Now, keep this in mind with the rushing yards thing. They're now 28th. They're really giving up a lot of yards on the ground. They have played 3 run-heavy teams. The Ravens, the Niners, and the Seahawks run a lot. These are 3 teams that really... And for what Wilkes does on defense, only playing a 4-2 set, meaning they only play usually 2 linebackers, that does put pressure on our defense to block the run. And the Browns, because they're only putting 2 linebackers in at a time with a base 4, that's 5 defensive backs.
Well, yeah, they don't want to get burned on the big plays.
That's right. And that's right. And by the way, the Browns haven't been. So that's good, I guess. But the rushing yards, because of that, they have really dropped. They are now 28th in the league in rushing defense. They are 4th in passing yards defense, so they're really good against the pass, which would make sense because Wilkes' defense is defensive back heavy. So they're doing well on that. The one thing I do want to point out is I thought I was a little too hard on him is Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett leads the league in sacks with 9. He's tied for the league. And that's even with the bye week. So that's how well he's doing when it comes to sacks and stuff like that. My big one-liner about Myles Garrett is I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's great. I think he's a very, very good player, though. And I don't want to pound on him because I don't think it's fair. And he's the one player that shows up and plays well.
This has been your theme for a year and a half anyway.
Yeah, I know. It drives me nuts because I think sometimes people act like he's Superman. I'm like, I don't see Lawrence Taylor or Derek Thomas. I'm not seeing that. But I am seeing players very good. And he makes plays. But Myles can disappear in a game, too. All that to be said, he is playing well. The startling stat, though, for a defensive line that we thought very high of, and because of Wilkes does on defense, Ogunjobi's the next with 3, and he's I think he's around the low 40s, Jared, in the sack totals, and then there's no one. Vernon's only gotten 1 sack. But Emmanuel Ogbah, who we shipped out of here, who we all fucking thought was done, he has got as many sacks right now as anybody on the defensive line for the Browns, aside from Garrett.
But that's what I don't understand how Vernon's got 1.
Vernon's not playing well enough. He's got to play better because you could use. It literally came off the week where we complained about it and wanted to see him do something, and then he did that 1 sack, and then he didn't do anything else. Dorsey, I know. Dorsey said he did play better. I do agree with that. Vernon's best game was the Seahawks game. I do agree with that. The bigger thing, though, here is we talk about disappointments. This defensive line needs to play better. I have felt Garrett's presence, yes. I think Richardson's played pretty well, Jared. I don't know how you felt. I like Richardson. I've seen him around the ball. I think he makes plays. Ogunjobi's Ogunjobi. He's a good average player, but Vernon needs to do more. But the bigger thing here is these front 4 need to make more of an impact on the game. Because if they're going to put 2 linebackers in, they have to take over these games, and they're not doing that.
No, and we thought they would. We thought they were going to be the toughest front 4 in the league.
And boy, they're not even close.
No.
The Browns defensive line has to, again, it's not terrible, but it's not a strength. I'm surprised I'm saying that. Linebackers, it's Joe Schobert or bust. Schobert's been wonderful. He's probably going to make a Pro Bowl.
He's been all over the place.
I mean, he is really... I know Myles Garrett's been the best defender, and that's right. If I'm being honest, a close second, Schobert. Schobert's been wonderful this year.
Well, we're at a point where we're talking about what? Joe Schobert's coming up on this is his contract year, right?
Yes. But he's been wonderful. I mean, he's just done such a nice job. The only thing that's alarming about the linebackers at this point, and you can't really focus too much on the linebackers because, again, the Browns usually only put out 2 on the field at a time. Outside of Schobert, nothing. I mean, nothing on this team's showing up. Kirksey's out for the year with an injury. Wilson's really not played awful. Well. Just really not. You're not getting anything from the linebackers outside of Schobert. If you watch these games and you watch them closely, and that has contributed to the run defense being 28th. Whoever that second linebacker is, whether it's going to be Wilson or whether it's going to be, I would hope Avery. I mean, let's stop on that. Are we going to see Avery at any point? Is he really that bad of a doghouse?
Must be, Andy. I mean, but I will tell you this. I'm okay with Mac Wilson. There's plenty of room for growth, but I'm okay with Mac Wilson.
Okay.
Yeah,
he's playing like a rookie. But the Browns need to start getting more impact from either defensive line or that second linebacker. Someone's got to start playing better. Someone's got to. Schobert's doing enough. Garrett doing enough. Ogunjobi, Richardson, Vernon, whoever that other linebacker is, has to start doing more. Has to. They're just getting nothing out of that second linebacker. I mean, they might as well just throw that position away. It's basically Schobert or nothing. Cornerbacks and safety, again, like the defensive line, it's been disappointing, but this has been injury riddled, so I don't know how much you can really take.
Well, no, I think the issue that we have, again, we can't fourth and total yards passing. I think that T.J. Carey had some weak moments, but he's also stood out a lot in the fact that he's been able to step up. But I think that the biggest issue is I think we thought we would have had more takeaways from this secondary at this point. Well, that's where we're hurting.
And that goes to the other point here, too. The Browns are middle of the league in turnovers. They're 21st in the league, but they're not far off from like the middle. They're in the middle. There's like a big group of like 8 teams. The Browns are right there in the middle.
I think that those two things play into each other.
Well,
I think that's your why.
Yes, but Greedy and Ward, especially Ward, they've been hurt. Fine, that happens. They're back on the field. Jared, they got to start making plays. They have got to start making impact plays. Denzel Ward, you're going to hear this harp a lot. He was the best player in the field at times the first 8 games. And I don't know what happened. That's last year. I don't know what's happened since. Well, and I don't know. It's concussion driven. I don't know.
Mental. I mean, that was my biggest worry after the second one is he ever going to be the same?
Well, he hasn't been. And I hope for his sake mentally he's doing okay. But he has got to start playing better, Jared. Greedy Williams needs to make an impact. I mean, none of those guys made any impact. Now, they've been injured. And you understand that. That's part of the game.
Well, that fresh legs, brother. Them fresh legs better show out.
You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. Like, I want to see those guys ball hawking. I want to see some plays made. And,
why not? You've got an extra guy watching for the ball. Why not? Of course. You have to be.
And I'll make this point, too. Greedy aside, Greedy's a rookie. Denzel Ward needs to play a lot better than he did in that opener.
Oh, yes.
He needs to play a lot.
That whole team on that home opener. I mean, I don't even want to talk about it.
Well, Denzel stuck out. If I'm being honest, Denzel stuck out on the tape on that game. The defense, I agree with what Jared alluded to. More turnovers needed. I think the defense is playing better than the offense, but the defense also needs to take a step forward. They need more things to happen. They need these games to get in better places. But I will say the defense has taken on a lot of impact because of how badly the offense is. There's been a lot of 3-and-outs this year. There's been a lot of quick turnovers that makes defense go back on the field. And I think the defense had more of a time to recover. I do think this defense would be more in the top 10, hovering around that, more than the middle tiers, which was what they are. The offense needs to help the defense, is my final assessment. More time on the field, more running down the clock would help out this defense a lot.
Give the defense some incentive. Give them some incentive. If you get a takeaway, Browns better score.
Yeah. Yep.
If the Browns can get some sustained drives, and they did this against Seattle a little bit, but you knew Russell Wilson wasn't going to lay down.
Played a great game. Yeah.
But when you watch the Baltimore walk into Seattle and steal a game after what we saw the week prior out of the Browns, this game, feast or famine. Talk about a few changes, one less possession change with the Browns. Seattle holds on. You're talking about a completely different looking AFC North right now.
But the Browns haven't made those changes. They have not made those changes. And by the way, the Ravens are far better than the Browns right now. Far better. Ravens are much better.
And the Browns put 40 up on the Ravens.
They did. They beat them.
Yet here we are with the same fucking record as the Pennsylvania assheads.
Yeah. Battling for third.
By the way, asshead. I've never used that term in my life.
Well,
I'm going to coin it as my own.
Well, I will just tell again. I'll just say again, though, the Browns are not as good as the Ravens. They aren't. The Ravens are much better. The Ravens lapped the Seahawks in that game. They outcoached them, outplayed them. Lamar Jackson right now is on his way to a Pro Bowl if he keeps playing like this. He looks like Mike Vick. He plays like Mike Vick. They're whipping the ball around the field. Peters is taking touchdowns back. They made Wilson look silly. Ravens are lapping us right now. Lapping us. But in one game, one-on-one, thank God, we outplayed them and outcoached them. Can we get that back? So let's talk about Freddie. Because outside the great Baltimore win, I don't know what you got on the positive side of things. Even the Jets game was kind of an ugly win. And they just basically laid down. I mean, look, 2-4, penalties, great win against Baltimore. Titans and Niners, a total flop. They can't win at home. Penalties. They have these questionable play calls. Monken and him seem to be battling heads. Penalties. Look, the key word all year has been undisciplined. I really want Freddie to do well. I am a big Freddie supporter. This is where I'm starting to split the road, though. I don't know if Freddie can do this. I am starting to wonder about.
Does he want the guys to like him too much?
You know what? I think it's getting bizarre. I can't read Freddie anymore. I thought I had a read on him, and I'm going to say I was wrong. Now that I've seen these 6 games come in, I am having a very hard time seeing how he's elevating the team to victories. The Ravens game, everything clicks. So I'll give him the Ravens game. But even in the Jets game, I thought Freddie hindered that team. I thought in these other games, Freddie brought down the team. We talked about the Seahawks game. We talked about the Niners game. The Titans game was a shit show outside that first drive. Freddie needs to start elevating this team to victory, and with the undisciplinedness and the strange play calls and bad challenges and misuse of timeouts, it's starting to get old fast.
Nothing highlights. This is a very, very, very firsthand look here that we're all getting at the differences between being a head coach in the NFL and every other coaching job in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You're talking about a guy who was a successful college quarterback. You're talking about a guy who was a quarterback coach who has coached offense, coached in different offensive coaching positions. He's done all of these different things throughout his career. He moved up. He's doing well. He's a guy that everyone loved. And then all of a sudden, he's the head coach because it seems like the right fit. It seems like him and Baker are on the same page. It seems like a match made in heaven. And then reality kicks in. And his head must be spinning the entire time. He's a fish out of water. Let's go ahead and ask it. Do you give him time to grow, Andy? Because I really got to tell you, man, I think you do. I think you do, even if this season turns out to be way shittier than you ever expected. I think you give him another season.
I do. But this is getting bad fast.
Yeah, it is. It is.
This has been a very busy lead-up week to the Patriots that's had nothing to do with on the field. There's been rumors, there's been sit-downs, and there's been quote-unquote misread quotes.
Well, let's talk about this, too. We got certain people that aren't really helping the Browns' cause here with that shit.
It's a mess. I got to be honest, Jared. My assessment is that is a big mess. And I don't think anyone's handling it well. I don't think Freddie Kitchens commenting it on a Friday is a good thing either.
There's only one way to handle it all well, Andy.
Win.
That's it.
Win. But I want to take
everything handled well when there's a W. Everything.
I think Freddie, again, do I believe Baker's going to turn us around? I do. I don't have that same belief, Jared, if I'm being honest about Freddie right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gotten really weird really quickly.
Well, I can tell you this. If Baker can at least give the appearances that he's turned it around, despite the other shit, which could be because of Freddie, how much influence does Baker have with Dorsey on all that? Because I think he does.
I think he does. I think the bigger thing here, though, is I'm ready for it. When is this stuff going to start settling down and start clicking more? And I mean that throughout the whole team.
When they all start settling down and clicking more.
Well, I'll tell you, you don't
like
get
when they I don't know, when Freddie settles them down.
I don't see discipline on the field. I don't see discipline in press conferences. These last 72 hours have been chaotic in Berea. This is coming off a bye week. The Browns have.
Well, hey, at least we haven't heard from Jimmy Haslam, and I can I'm okay with that.
I'll be honest with you. He's got his finger on the buzzer.
I know he does.
He's got his finger on that buzzer.
I don't need it. No.
By the way, I will don't say, blame
when you
Jimmy.
when you hear from him,
yeah,
you know we've elevated to another level of DEFCON.
I don't think Kitchens is gone this year, but Freddie's got to start turning this around faster. I mean, right now. I thought the biggest thing, though, out of this bye week was the John Dorsey State of the Union address. I thought that's the first time where I watched that. I watched the whole thing back twice. I remember that's the first time I really sat back and go, the Browns are in more trouble than what I thought. Because I got out of that press conference, we're hopeful we're going to turn this around, but I'm not saying we're going to turn this around. That was the whole vibe I got throughout the press conference. It was very positive. It was a lot of games to be played. But when it came down to specific things, Jared, you didn't get that from Dorsey. I like this from Freddie. I like this. Really good job. And the players like Freddie. I would love to hear him be like, you know what I like? I like how Freddie expands the field. He gives the ball to Chubb. Like, you don't hear any of that. All you hear is like, I think Freddie's doing a good job, and the players seem to like him.
Listen.
I don't want to hear that from my head coach.
Andy.
That's a fucking given. You don't go to prison. You stay out of prison. You don't say in a press conference, you know, the good thing Johnny's doing, he's not in prison. The good thing is about Freddie Kitchens should not be players like him. That's a fucking Captain Obvious statement.
It only took 40 minutes to get into the show.
That is not what you want to hear from your GM. What's your biggest positive? The players seem to like the players seem to like Freddie. That's all we got? Good.
It only took 40 minutes.
That was a bad press conference.
Andy.
That was a bad press conference.
It's this because you just said what was always the comment with you?
We are starting.
The players loved you.
We are
the players love you. That's what it was.
After the Patriots game this next week, I want Hayden Grove to come back on because he got a little itchy when I brought this Hugh Jackson thing up, and we're going down that road. We are going down that road. It's not that bad. It isn't, but we're going down that road. Dorsey's press conference, though, I thought revealed to me like he is hoping, he is hopeful, but he is not confident about this team right now. And Jared, that I got, as you can probably tell from my yelling rant, that bothers me. Because Dorsey was the one guy who always gave us confidence, who always gave us our bedtime medicine, who always rubbed our bellies late at night, be like, everything's fine, you trust me, we're waking up the sleeping giant, the Cleveland Browns. That's not what he got at that press conference last week. You did not get that. I still feel like he throws a good football, he said on Mayfield. He did avoid certain questions about unhappy play calling. That was smart. I'm glad he did that. He also, this is the other thing about Freddie that drove me crazy. He likes Freddie's courage to go for it on fourth down. The courage?
Yeah, these aren't things that really bode well for Freddie.
Are we winning merit badges? Courage?
I don't want to pick on Freddie, though. I got to be honest. I really want this to work out, Andy.
Most likable badge, Freddie Kitchens.
I know.
Courage Award, Freddie Kitchens. He's going to be a Weeblo soon. Look, all this crap about merit badges of courage and good it's got to stop. Jared's got to stop. Got to stop.
I know.
I want to start hearing these press conferences. You know what I like about Freddie? He's advancing our team. And by the way, you know why they're not saying that? Because it's not happening.
Oh, boy.
Now, let's really... Okay, so we got all this. We're at the final examination here. We almost got the wound cleaned out. Let's talk about Seattle. All right. The first quarter was great, if you love the Seattle game. Watch the first quarter. Mayfield looked great. They played really well. Outside that drive that the Seahawks
I was in the middle of a pumpkin patch with my phone held to my head so I could listen.
I was in Madison, Connecticut. Got no cell phone reception, so I watched this game on tape delay. So I watched.
I told you not to bother.
I did. I watched every second of that game.
Fucking
listen
masochist.
to Moose Johnson. Oh, it was.
Did you put on your nipple clamps too while you're at it?
Pain in my face.
Yeah. You got a safe word before you start hit play on the game.
There's that Billman guy wandering the streets talking to himself. What are you doing at the 82nd? That was not good. All right, look. The first quarter was great. The bad news is, as that game went on, Mayfield looked out of rhythm and the offense looked out of rhythm. Higgins not playing was super odd. Callaway looks rusty. He is not playing well. Now, you got to give that time, and you need to get him in his offense, but Callaway does not look as crisp as he did last year. And Higgins isn't playing. So, I guess we're not going to have those two around this year. I don't know. Seals Jones also, he's a backup tight end. We don't have a tight end either. So we basically got we do have great talent, though. all that to be said, the bigger thing that I'm still seeing, Jared, which I am surprised about 6 games in the Seattle game, it pointed out as the game went on, they are still having offensive mix-ups. There's no rhythm. That first interception, it looked like Beckham and Mayfield were on the same page. Beckham turned in quick, and then the ball comes. It's very, very weird. Same thing, too, on the pass to Chubb. Chubb wasn't expecting the ball. Next thing he knows, the ball's in his breadbasket, and he's getting hit, and he gets clocked, and then the fumble. This offense is just not in rhythm. There's no, it's not smooth at all. And by the way, what's ironic, and this is where it's really bad on Freddie, when the offense is smooth, the Browns drive down the field quickly and score. It is weird. It is weird.
You could see what they could be.
Oh, that's why we're so fucking frustrated. Because you can see it. It's not like it. It isn't like the good old days where it's like,
nope, you're right.
Okay, look, hey, hopefully Coda Kessler doesn't break his leg. And you know what? If we lose by 5, that's almost like winning by 5. It's not that anymore.
It took miracles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like maybe the other team won't show up. I mean, that's what we were really talking about. Like in these games, if you watch the first quarter against Seattle, holy cow! Boom, boom, boom. Making plays here. Chubb is playing so. I'm going to go another. Chubb is playing at an elite level.
Absolutely,
he is playing on he's on a different field right now, and he's starting to get Barry Sanders type hitches. He starts to do things now where he actually stops and drives. He waits for a block stop. Jared, he's playing so well right now. All that
once he kicks in that gear, once he has a chance to get to that second level, you're not going to touch him.
And the Browns, I think the biggest point that's been made, I heard from different people, the Browns are trying to win, focusing way too much on whether it's Baker trying to hit Beckham too many times or Landry, whether it's too many times of empty backfields. The Browns, even Freddie a couple times mentioned, goes, I want to score more points. It's like, it's not about that. It's about winning games. And the Browns are going to really get back to that.
I don't care if they score 7 points and win.
I don't give a fuck either.
Why? Don't they understand? Like, the strategy is, okay, we scored. Now let's stop them from scoring to catch us. That's all it is.
Yes. So,
it's not. Let's keep scoring and make sure, because I don't.
So by the way, am I wrong? The referees didn't cost them the Seattle game, correct?
No, and I've got a new. All right, so 2 things, Andy. 2 things. I want to talk about refs real quick. 2 things.
Okay.
One thing is, the bottom line is insult to injury, right? That's all it is. It's constantly insult to injury. The refs,
yes,
have consistently added insult to injury throughout the season for the Browns. They just have, we saw it last year. We're seeing it again this year. So that's one. And that is what is so frustrating because you can look at all the things that you can fix and understand, yeah, we know we need to fix this. Yeah, we know we need to fix that. Yeah, we know that's a problem with us. But for Christ's sake, do your fucking job. And that is annoying. And it's an outlet and it's somewhere to vent. The second thing is, we've talked about this. I told you it was going to be a problem, and we were coming close to becoming an NFL problem where fans are going to start to say, what am I watching for? These guys are really starting to have impact on the outcomes of games where they shouldn't be. I get it. Rule changes are not helping. But if we're going to talk about these non-existent blindside blocks and the bullshit that is equal to or worse than that has been called throughout the season, the NFL, again, I'm telling you, you want to talk about alarm bells. They need to get this under control. These refs are having far too much impact on the outcome of games, and it is starting to tip over when it comes to fans. I told you it was going to come. I told you it was coming. That if they don't figure it out and they don't reel it in, but they're not going to, because much like my 12 years in the military, I know that the NFL, in some very strange ways, does the same thing that the military, at least in my experience, likes to do, and that's bang your head against the wall over and over again instead of walking through the door that's right next to you. Because you don't want to admit that something is broken. You don't want to admit that something needs fixed. You don't want to admit that there might be a problem. And that's what the NFL is doing right now.
I think
they're fining players $12,000. Go to hell. Go to hell. Get the hell out of here. I'm sorry, but we're talking about visors and knee pads and shitty calls. Get your fucking priorities straight, NFL. Not your image. Not the image of what you think your priorities need to look like.
Oh, that's fair. This, to me, is the least of the topics.
No, it is. It's a separate topic. This is not my bitch about it. Isn't even necessarily about the Browns. It's about the NFL and the Shield itself.
Yes, it is bad right now. It is bad. Good news, we go to Foxborough.
Oh, fucking thank God.
And I mean, thank God, like that.
We're on to New England.
So, good news. There's nothing that says getting a victory more. Clearly, my prediction of the Pats going away has been perfect. They're 7-0. The Jets just flew by on Monday night. That was one of the worst Monday night football
games. My wife just asked
watched.
me if I would buy her a Super Bowl ticket if they went this year.
No. So I would. I would protest.
I told her. I said, "You don't." I said, "I watch more Patriots football on Sundays than you do." No. Yeah.
So, so Beckham got fined. Kareem Hunt's back in practice. That's good. And by the way, Myles Garrett's a really good guy. He's a good man. Don't punch him, okay? Browns fans out there.
I forgot about that.
Don't be punching.
Listen, that social media world is all that is. I think that's stupidity.
I don't think.
Well,
no,
my point is, I know. No, my point is that this kid thought he was being cute. I don't know. I'm making an assumption. I haven't looked into it any further. I'm wondering if if he shot video of it or someone did or something. It reeks of millennial stupidity to me.
So the Browns, good news. Everybody's back aside from Randall. It does sound like Ham might be injured, but everybody else is back. Randall's not going to be playing in this game. He is out.
Yeah, Hammy's for everyone apparently.
Yes, but everybody's back, which is good. Jarvis Landry did not predict a victory for the game. That was the latest scuttlebutt discussion.
I don't want to talk about it again. Again, it's pissing me off.
So basically what happened, for people who might have missed it, is Landry had a press conference saying we're going to win there, was basically his point. It kind of came off to a couple or maybe one person in particular that they were going to win the game and guaranteeing the win.
It didn't come off to that person that way. That person turned it into that on purpose because that was clickable.
Well,
I said it, and I will take full responsibility for that comment. And until I am proven otherwise, I will stand by it. And that person tried to clean up their mess today with a tweet, because apparently Jarvis Landry is a nice guy and doesn't hold grudges, and decided to talk to that person again.
Yes, so
good for him.
Good for him. So all that to be said, it's been going around Foxborough today. It's been the big topic up here that the Browns are guaranteeing victory. So the Patriots are now very fired up. That should help. They come in with a great defense. The offense is playing well enough to win games. Their defense is outstanding. It's on a different level. I will say that it's off a bye week. You figure off a bye week like this, the Browns would have their shit together.
And the Pats are off a short week.
The Pats are off a short week.
We're acting like this fucking matters. Go ahead.
The Browns are going to lose 31-17.
17?
17. They'll score 17 points. They'll trip over themselves, score 17. I just don't see how the Browns are going to win this game. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it. I think the Browns right now have a lot more issues that are expounding by. The one thing about this game that's good is that the Browns win it. It does clear up a lot of these issues we talked about earlier. All that to be said. I just don't think the Browns are good enough to win these kind of games at all. So I think the Browns, and why even give ammunition to a team like that? And it wasn't done by Landry, but that just fuels the fire. So the Browns, I think they lose respectively. I think they'll be around. I don't think the game will be close, but I think they'll be hanging. I call this game they'll hang around. they'll hang around this game, but they'll lose. Defense is just too good.
Let me just go ahead and say this. 12.5. Don't take the points.
Okay.
Don't take the points.
All right. Everybody, that line started like at 9 too, so I think it's like either 9 or 10. So that line's jumped.
I think the Browns lose by 14 or more. I think 12.5.
I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Yes, yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, that's why I said don't take the points.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You don't want, yeah. The Browns. I don't think have. I hope I'm wrong, Jared. You're saying the same thing. I don't think they have a shot.
Nope,
none. So to other game that boy, I hope I'm wrong. It's gonna be a long podcast next week if they lose. Then they go to Denver, which aside from last year is usually the house of horrors for the Browns, which we won't relive that today. Check out Believe Land. Only 11 copies left on Amazon. Not that anybody's counting. So to go around the NFL this week.
Are you selling those out of the boxes you have in your closet?
I might. They've run out.
Don't sell them all, dickhead. We need those.
I know. For people who want to look
we need
away,
giveaways and autographs for.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which we'll talk about that later. There might be an event coming up.
There's going to be an event. It might be the christening of the beginning. Oh well, the beginning of the mock drafts. I hope I'm wrong.
Oh,
okay. That was too negative.
I'm sorry for calling you a dickhead. By the way, I didn't mean that.
It's okay. It's in play. Mock draft. Who do you like? I kind of like that. You know.
Stop.
By the way, random question. If the Browns do drop in the top 10, and let's say that guy Burrow's there from LSU, do you draft him? Your pause says everything I need to know. It's tempting.
Again, I think anything's in play if that's the case at the end of this season. But at the same time, I don't want them to blow it up. God.
If they're around that area and Joe Burrow's there, then I think you have to take him. Even if it means you trade him later, you have to take him, bro. They won't be in the top 3 because the Monday Night Football game this week is terrible. It's Dolphins Steelers. Chiefs Packers should be good. The big thing this week in the NFL was, how much the Jets just shit the bed on Monday Night Football. They follow up. They play the Jaguars this week. And then we already talked about the Browns. The Eagles, they've had an interesting week too. Similar to the Browns, they play the Bills. That's actually not a bad game. Big game for the Eagles. They need that game. And then the Seahawks, there's nothing like a good Band-Aid more than playing the Atlanta Falcons right now, who just traded Mohamed Sanu. By the way, Mohamed Sanu will be playing this week. So that'll be cool to see him running around. By the way, we got.
Well, did you want to face him or Josh Gordon?
Josh Gordon's out for the year too. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean.
Yeah. Yes.
They obviously had to make a replacement. They made a good deal to they made a good replacement.
All right. Wonderful. Let me ask you one more, then we're going to transition to the Cavs. Do the Browns make the playoffs?
You looking at a percentage right now?
You can do whatever you want.
All right. I got to tell you that despite the 2-4 record.
Yes.
And despite what my attitude would tell you, and I'm really trying hard not to be that Browns fan, I still think that they've got a 35% chance of making the playoffs, and I think that's high.
I think the Browns are very 50-50.
Oh, you're higher on them than I am.
I think it's very 50-50. And the only reason why I give this a chance of 50-50
is if Baker goes rogue.
Nick Chubb,
Baker, Kareem Hunt. I mean,
the one thing I am not dumb. The second half of that season, the Browns' schedule gets a lot easier, and it could pile up quickly. And when you get momentum in any kind of sport, you can really start taking off. So we'll see.
Yeah, but let's say this then too: does 9-7 win the division?
Nope. 10-6 is the least you can do.
And 9-7 will not in that AFC.
No, I don't think so.
9-7 in the AFC will not get a.
I don't think so.
Will not get
because the Ravens are already at 5.
Yeah, I know. Don't fucking remind me.
They
They've got their bye weeks this week, right?
Yes, they were off. That was, I'll tell you what, everybody said it, and we'll say it here too. That loss that Seattle got hung on by the Ravens is not helping this week.
No, that hurts bad.
The Ravens looked really good.
And before, this is something else I wanted to say really quickly, Andy, is that despite the turnovers, this is, again, another reminder of how good this team could be. Despite the turnovers, despite the stupid end of the second half, despite the penalties, the Browns were in that game and had a chance to win it for a long time. I mean, I know that's a silver lining that nobody gives a shit about. But, man, they could be so good. They really could be.
We've been on the air forever, so we're going to do a rapid-fire Cavs and rapid-fire college football.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
That was my cue to you. So, here's the quick impressions about the Cavs. Live and die by a 3. They were 9 out of 34. That's not going to do it. The Cavs are much better than they were last year at this time.
Yep.
They play pass first. They are not a one-on-one team, which is actually refreshing. They play very good team basketball. The rebounding's really improved. Sexton looks better. Porter's really raw. Darius Garland looks like a rookie, but he showed a little bit of flash. Tristan Thompson looks unstoppable at times. He played really well in this game. I thought he looked really good.
He does that, but he'll disappear halfway through the season. Go ahead.
Okay, all that to be said, the big thing about the Cavs is, and you might be right, the big thing about the Cavs, though, is they're going to be taking a lot of threes. They're going to have to hit better than 9 out of 34. They just have to. They're going to have to shoot above 30% to win. If they do that from 3, I think the Cavs, I'm telling you, late in this game, it was down to 6 with under a minute to play. It was getting dicey in Orlando. So
the more confidence they have, the more relaxed they'll be. The more relaxed they'll be, the better they'll shoot that ball. The better they shoot that ball, the more threes they'll hit. I think that as they settle in, as the season goes on, you'll see that number go up. Possibly, right?
Yes, we'll do a bigger breakdown on the Cavs, but I wanted to give those thoughts. Porter is really raw, and I haven't decided yet what to think of him. You can't do that after one game, of course, but he is really raw.
Well, I want to throw out here, too, I believe on Hulu at least, I don't know everywhere else, I think everywhere, and NBA Game Pass is free until the 29th.
Yes.
So you can watch all the NBA you want. Check out NBA Game Pass. They don't pay us, obviously, but if you love basketball and you don't get to watch your team or you're out of market or whatever, it's just, something I throw out there for you.
I watched, and I already bought the NBA Pass, and I'm happy. I think it's going to be, again, doesn't mean wins, but it's going to be fun.
And I paid for it last year. I didn't watch.
College football, Wisconsin really took the air out of this game because they lost
I know.
On the road to Illinois, which they deserved to lose. Illinois outplayed them in that game. Wisconsin had one of those typical games where the quarterback threw picks. He didn't make enough plays. They played flat, and Lovie Smith got the win of his career. May save his job. Whiskey does play Ohio State at noon. After watching a game like that, I don't know how you pick Wisconsin. Ohio State should win that game. I do think Wisconsin's going to hang around. I do think, obviously, Wisconsin's one of the better teams in the Big Ten outside of the Penn States and the Michigans. And they're in that class, actually. Wisconsin's in that class. So they'll give them a game. They'll play hard, but Ohio State should win that game.
I will tell you right now, do not sleep on this game. Here I go again. I'm being that Buckeye who I don't count anyone out, especially in these games. Wisconsin knows damn well if they can beat Ohio State, their name is right back in the conversation. So do not assume with this Ohio State game, with this Wisconsin game.
Michigan really needs this win on Saturday night against my Irish. It is. I really think this is John Harbaugh. It's going to get really suffocatingly bad if he doesn't win this game.
He might not make it to the Ohio State game.
I think he will. Oh, he's going to make it past the Ohio State game, too. He's not beating Ohio State. But he's going to make it to that game past it. But this is a huge game for Harbaugh. The Irish had a bye week, so they should be nice and fresh, ready to go. I love the Irish. I have Irish glasses on, so I find this game to be a tough game to read anyways. My gut tells me, though, if I was an Irish fan, I really do think Michigan's going to win this game. I think Michigan needs this game, Jared, badly. I really do. I think it's a tough game for the Irish.
I don't think they win it, and I think your confidence that Harbaugh's there, man, I don't know.
We'll see.
Hey, them boosters got to be pretty antsy at this point.
I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy, but they had chances to beat Penn State. They just couldn't put it through. I do think Michigan finds a way to beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, but they have, I mean, come on now. Franklin finds a way to lose those games. And that was my comment before that game started was.
By the way, he almost did.
Exactly.
He almost did.
Exactly.
Auburn LSU is a wonderful game at 3:30. LSU then has the bye week before Bama. Bama's quarterback Tua is out for the Arkansas game, but they're playing Arkansas, so who cares? And then he hopefully comes back for Bama fans' sake. Bama LSU 1-2 happening in 3 weeks unless something happens in this game. Auburn's dangerous. This is they have played a lot of road games recently. Auburn's got a lot of home games on the back half. If Auburn could ever win this game, their back half of the schedule is really simple down the stretch compared to what they played. Their only tough game left is Georgia. And then, of course, Bama. So as soon as I said that, I put, you know what? Forget what I just said. It's wrong. Auburn still's got tough games to play, but they play a lot more home games down the stretch. So that helps here. Great college football lineup. The Astros are down 0-2. Taubman got fired. He deserved to get fired. What he did in the locker room was terrible. That was definitely directed at a woman, and a woman who's speaking up for domestic violence. Terrible, terrible. Taubman deserved to get the boot. Glad he did.
Clarify that situation for me. I didn't, pardon me, I'm choking for no
emotional.
Reason right now.
Emotional.
Well, I'm aggravated. I'm aggravated with the LeBron and China stuff. I think that's what got me. Because I'm pissed off because LeBron. I mean, come on, dude. You're just. I don't even. This is an entire podcast in itself. So I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm
we
not
don't
even gonna
have
waste
time.
my breath.
We don't have time for it. But Taubman, after they win, our shining locker room. We fucking got Azuna. I'm so fucking happy we got Azuna. He made it towards 3 women. One of them with a bracelet. The same woman had been tweeting throughout the year every time Azuna would come out on the mound for domestic violence numbers. Because Azuna did get arrested for domestic violence before he got traded from the Blue Jays to the Astros. That's the whole chain of events.
Gotcha.
Here.
I wasn't aware of that backstory. I assumed as much, but I wasn't sure of the backstory because I don't follow.
Taubman deserved to get fired. The Astros handled that horribly.
Oh,
They did not do a good job, but they finally cleaned it up and did the right thing. Taubman, I don't ever like seeing people lose their jobs. He deserved to get fired, needed to get fired, and did get fired. All those are good things. What he did and how he did it was awful, and how the Astros handled it was terrible. Everything got cleaned up, though. The Astros are down 0-2.
Well, there you go. Good. Go Nats. I'm right here. You'd think I was 5,000 miles away because I don't even care.
Big. Yeah, seriously. Jared's not even looking out his window. But yeah, I mean, it is a big game, though. And it is a. Speak your head out. You live right beside the stadium, right? Baltimore and DC, you're like right next to each other.
Yep. I'm right in the middle of both of them.
Yeah, exactly. But the Astros down 0-2, big game tonight. And like I said, I think just to wrap up quickly, the one thing to end on this positive thing is that the Browns can beat the Pats. I really do think it's set up for them to do well. Everybody's hoping they win. I don't think it's going to happen. I know Jared doesn't think so either. I think that's really where this team is at right now. I think the other bigger story, though, that's going to start hearing, I think it's going to ramp up more, is Freddie Kitchens. I do think the Freddie watch is going to start happening if he keeps losing games like that.
Well, I will tell you this. If the Browns lose this Sunday, you're talking about a team that can only afford to lose one more game and has to win 8 out of the next 9. And I don't know how you do that, especially because your bye week's already gone and you don't have any momentum you're playing off of. And you're going to Denver to begin that winning streak of whatever kind it will be.
Winnable game.
So
Denver's not good.
All I'm saying is you're on the road. You're a mile high. You never know. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you. And then you come home to play the Bills, who only lost one game.
Exactly. I mean, that's the point. I mean,
just win
this back end of the schedule that we thought was going to be easier clearly is not easier.
Jared, it's that old line.
And
the old line is everything we planned, nothing's working out.
Well, no, exactly. No. And you know what? Of course, I mean, I think that I look back to that Niners game and I'm like, oh my God, of course the Niners had to prove that they were for real this season. You've got, damn it.
Just don't keep losing. I don't want to do mock drafts on this podcast, and I will if they keep losing. I will start making mock drafts.
We're going to mock them. That's the only thing we can hit.
Good, you should. By the way, my picks are mockable too. They haven't been good. Everybody, let's go Browns. There you go. That's my closing thought. Let's go Browns. Anything you have to ask me, let's go Browns.
Shoot us an email, andyandjared@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Cleveland and Beyond. Follow us on Twitter @CLE and Beyond. And you can listen to this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, your Alexa device, whatever it may be, wherever podcasts are found. We are brought to you by Waiting for Next Year. Check them out. Original Cleveland sports reporting at waitingfornextyear.com. He is Andy Billman. I am Jared Watson. And thanks for listening once again. Andy and Jarid, Cleveland and beyond. Oh, beat the fucking Pats. Not going to happen.
Nope.
Talk again soon. Bye.